Celestia jumped out of bed and rushed to Knox's room, slamming the door open. She scanned the dark space lit only by Knox's phone screen and found Knox lying there with headphones on. Their eyes met and Celestia blurted that she was in trouble. Knox sat up straight, his protective instincts kicking in at once. Celestia flopped onto Knox's bed and slammed down her books. Knox sighed at the sight, expecting something more dramatic, but agreed to help after Celestia explained the test tomorrow and her fear of extra lessons. Knox flicked through the textbook and warned Celestia he would not be as lenient as Xander. Knox scribbled notes and explained the algebra with a sharp tone, yelling occasionally and flicking Celestia's forehead. When she struggled, the constant pressure made Celestia's eyes well up, until she finally yelled that she hated Knox. Knox teased Celestia sweetly at first, then turned serious, promising she would hate him more if she did not get the sum right. Tears flowed freely as Celestia felt stupid and exhausted. Knox panicked and tried to console Celestia, wiping her cheeks and offering a deal. If Celestia aced the test, Knox would buy her any candies she wanted, but she must keep it secret. Celestia sniffled in agreement, and they returned to studying with renewed focus. Knox's methods a little gentler now under the sweet incentive. The opulent office felt suffocating, as guns pointed at every head. The tense silence stretched between the families. The deal was off, Alexander Wagner Camorra declared dramatically, while holding a gun to Celestia's father's head. Celestia's father, the biggest arms dealer, replied through clenched teeth that there had never been a deal to begin with. Alexander Wagner Camorra sought bulk weapons in secret for his impending power play in the Mafia. Celestia's father refused, prioritizing safety over the hefty payment, aware of the risks if a revolt succeeded. Alexander Wagner Camorra's men lowered their weapons, but the air remained thick with threat. As Alexander Wagner Camorra prepared to leave, he spotted a framed photo on the desk, studied it with a sinister smirk, and tossed it back mockingly. Alexander Wagner Camorra departed with a veiled warning that no change of mind would come soon. Celestia's father poured a stiff drink and ordered doubled home security, insisting Celestia remain unaware as always. He left the arrangements to his eldest son Xander, who was now responsible for everyone's protection, especially his baby sister Celestia. Xander drove home cautiously that night, checking for tails, and upon arriving slipped into Celestia's room only to find it empty. Panic surged until Xander opened Knox's door and discovered both siblings asleep there. Celestia was tucked tightly under the sheets, while Knox sprawled across the bed. Relief washed over Xander. As he watched, Knox instinctively ready to shield Celestia, even in sleep. Yet Xander's gut churned with worry over the future. Refusing Alexander Wagner Camorra meant trouble ahead, from a ruthless man not to be crossed. The school day ended, and Celestia packed her things with her friend Olivia. Before stepping outside, Celestia's test had gone well, thanks to Knox's intense coaching, and she looked forward to the promised chocolates. Knox was unusually late picking Celestia up, so she waited inside. As rain began to pour, Celestia read her Shakespeare novel in the seating area, but an uneasy feeling of being watched crept over her again. Ryan, a senior Celestia had once crushed on, approached and asked why she was still there. Celestia explained she was waiting for Knox and tried calling Knox and Xander on Ryan's phone, with no answer. With the storm worsening, Ryan offered Celestia a ride home. Though hesitant, Celestia accepted, grateful for the help from her trustworthy neighbor. Ryan draped his jacket over Celestia as they dashed through the heavy rain to Ryan's car, both laughing at the chaotic sprint and Celestia's subsequent sneezes. The heater warmed them as Ryan drove carefully through the downpour, chatting lightly about hot cocoa and dry blankets. 3 matte black sedans followed Ryan's car, unnoticed through the storm. A sudden thunderclap made Celestia glance out the window, just as one sedan slammed into Ryan's car. From the side, the impact caused skidding, then another collision from Celestia's side drew a scream from her lips. Cars blocked the road ahead. Ryan braked desperately, but Ryan's vehicle overturned after another hit, landing roof down in a screeching halt. Rain pounded the wreckage as Ryan fumbled free of his seatbelt, smashed the window, and crawled out despite cuts. Ryan tried to reach Celestia, but a massive man grabbed Ryan. Gunshots rang out. Ryan fought valiantly before passing out. From his own vehicle, Alexander Wagner Camorra watched in fury. As his men botched the simple tale, Alexander Wagner Camorra had ordered them to follow, not crash the car, and risk his leverage. Alexander Wagner Camorra strode through the rain and shot the responsible driver twice in the head without hesitation. His men disposed of the body swiftly. Alexander Wagner Camorra then approached the overturned car and squatted to study the half-conscious Celestia, suspended upside down. Celestia's silvery hair streaked with blood, framed a face more beautiful than any photo. Such a pretty little thing, Alexander Wagner Camorra thought. His original plan to use Celestia as leverage against the Ashwoods shifting dramatically. Alexander Wagner Camorra wanted Celestia for himself, to mold and possess completely. Girls Celestia's age were not usually his taste, but this one stirred something darker. Alexander Wagner Camorra cupped Celestia's face firmly, noting her brief flicker of relief before terror dawned. With a deranged smile, Alexander Wagner Camorra whispered that she was finally his. Alexander Wagner Camorra unclipped Celestia's seatbelt, pulled her carefully through the shattered window, despite the glass, and carried her limp form over his shoulder to his car and into her new hell. As the rain continued to wash away traces of the violent night, Celestia remained unaware of the full danger closing in around her family and the sinister intentions, now focused solely on breaking her innocent world apart.